Now, before you talked about a sort of essence being related to existence.
As a limit, as a limiting principle, an act of existence limited down to just so much existence and no more. So it's a principle of limit.
Then what can be said about matter?
Okay, matter is actually a further kind of limitation. The two components in all the things we know are form and matter. Form, the pattern or structure that makes it to be this kind of being, and then matter, which puts it in the material world and enables many different examples of a given species. So form is a kind of intelligible unity of the nature of a thing. The form of an oak tree, the form of a human being gives a set of properties shared by the species. And that's the unity, the intelligible unity. Now, matter is a dispersal of that in an extended stuff. Matter is essentially something extended in space, parts outside of parts. So that's a kind of imperfection of the unity of form. It's spread out into parts then. So matter is a further limitation. Form, just a pure form would be a finite spirit like the angels. It's a concentrated energy, not infinite, but a concentrated energy transcending space. Once you put it down into a body, then it's sort of spread out and diluted, so to speak, spread out across space. So that's a further limitation. So matter, in a sense, is a second kind of limitation. The first limitation of existence is by form, structure. And the second limitation is spreading it out in space. So it exists, but it's not all together as much. Like inside of us, it takes time for the instructions from the brain to reach all the way down to the body and to the toes and so on like that. So our bodies are present, but not totally present immediately. It takes time to unify them. They're spread out, in other words. So matter is a further spreading out of form. It's a second kind of limitation. However, there is an advantage, though, in matter. If God, in sort of planning the universe, why would he think up material things? Well, this is not in St. Thomas, this is my own theory. God in himself, as we know, not from philosophy, but from revelation, is a tri-personal unity. There's an internal communication of God, Father to Son, and both to the Spirit. So that's an inner community of persons, or perfectly equal. Now, suppose God wanted to say, I'd like to make a universe, and he makes all kinds of angels, of spirits, but each one is going to be different. And he says, suppose I wanted to make a society, a universe where there are societies of equals, where you could have a democracy. Democracy, all men by nature are created equal. Now, how are you going to have many different members of the same species, all equal and yet many? Well, for St. Thomas, you couldn't do that if you just had pure spirit, pure finite form, because then, like an angel for St. Thomas, each angel exhausts its own species. Gabriel is Gabriality, but no man or woman is humanity. What's the difference? If you just had the pure form, there's no way of getting another one like that unless you changed the quality, made a different kind of form. But matter allows you to multiply and reproduce the same specific form over and over again in other parts of matter, because matter just adds quantitative spatial difference in space and extension, but it doesn't give you qualitative changes. So if you bring in a principle of matter, then you can multiply individuals of the same form all over the place as long as you have more material. Then you can get equals, because matter, the extension in space, gives quantitative differentiation, but not qualitative yet. And therefore you can have the same species reproduced. Then you can have equals, then you can have a democracy. So the condition of possibility for having beings that are equal equal and can share in a society of equals is having a material universe. And that's so the angels can't imitate God in that. The angels are all qualitatively diverse from each other, not the same species. And God wanted to say, well, I'd like something where they're all equals. And he had to make matter. So that's one reason for the material universe. It enables societies of equals, and all the things that we know around us, all are many individuals are individuals of which there are many in the same species, trees and acorns and atoms and all that. So that enables democracy of equals.